You've entered Crew Conversations. It's just me and Crew today, but we're going to still talk about it. How about that? Today's episode is called Grief Doesn't Always Wear Black. Sometimes she shows up in red lipstick. I don't have on my red lipstick because at the last minute I decided to pour up a glass of wine and have a little meal leftovers from last night. But what do you mean by grief showing up in red lipstick? Sometimes, even in the grief process, we still have to show up, right? We still have to show up for others. If you're a mom, you still got to take the kids to school. You still have to do homework. If you're showing up on your job, you still have to perform. So grief has to take a back seat. You just got to put your lipstick on and keep going, right? Now, one of the notes that I wrote says, like, for my personal grief, when a woman loses or buries a child, there's a hole left in her soul that changes her forever, changes who she is. But in my case, I was so young, I had no idea who I was, right? I was so young that the things that I thought I liked were really things that somebody had told me that I should like. So grief came along with me through life, and that's one of the revelations that I found the older I got. Grief was always there, and she kind of grew up with me, and now I can talk about it, I can tell others about it, and I can help somebody else on their journey with grief because we had a lot of experience of helping ourselves over here. Okay, so there, you know, are all types of grief. We grieve relationships, friendships, jobs, all kinds, right? mm-hmm mm. So grieving a friendship or a relationship, now this one is tough on so many levels because this person is still walking around, so you grieving them, but you're still seeing them or thinking about them and knowing that they're doing well physically, but that loss is definitely buried. And with them buried is, you know, trust, connection, history. You have a lot of history people, and then they just decide to, leave. Somebody just decides to leave the relationship or leave the friendship. But as a whole, those type of loss, that type of grief is minimized. And people think you should be okay, girl. Just move on. But you're grieving what was, what you thought would have been, could have been, sometimes should have been. Those are real losses that, I don't think that say that it's a real loss. We minimize it. The lipstick, red lipstick persona comes from the refusal to look defeated. That is me. I tell people all the time, I don't look like what I've been through. I don't look like what I'm going through or have gone through because I know how to put on, and not put on like fake, but I know how to dress myself up because when I look good, I feel good. Cheers to that, okay? And I'm looking down because I wrote some notes and I don't want to just ramble. So no one sees the unsent texts, the late night tears, the alone time, the loneliness after love, or the loneliness after friendship, the loneliness after any kind of loss. There are times when in your mind you're so lonely. You could be like full of people, but in your mind you're so lonely because of that loss and that space and that hole that's there from that, whatever that missing person, hell. So grieving someone who decided to leave just hits different, and it's hard. I put on here, nobody brings you chicken a casserole or a sympathy card for those type of losses. That's the truth. Nobody brings you anything. You just left in your grief. You figure it out. You figure it out. And I'm not going to tell you how. You just figure it out. I put on here that it's an invisible kind of grief. Deeply isolating. Because you should be okay, girl. You're strong. You got it. You should be okay. I am tired of being strong. I hate that. You're the strong for. I don't want to be strong. I want to be soft. That's what I want. I want to be soft. Don't you want to be soft too, friend? I know. It's time. Okay, we're going to be soft. So, what does reclaiming yourself look like? For me, it's dressing up, makeup. I don't journal as much, but I do a little bit. Exercise, all forms of self-care. I am a big advocate for self-care, and self-care looks different for everybody. Sometimes it's a massage. Sometimes it's going to get your nails done. Sometimes it's laying on the couch and talking it out with a therapist. That's true self-care in my opinion, because that's only for you, right? That's your way of saying I still exist and I still deserve to feel beautiful inside and out. Red lipstick became your declaration of self-worth. Girl, throw that lipstick on and show them. Even if you got to cry when you get back home, don't let them see. Don't let them see you sweat, girl. Okay? Now, what relationship are you still grieving? I won't lie and say that there isn't a relationship that I still think about heavily. Not, not like all the time, but I feel like sometimes you don't get the answer. You might have gotten an answer, but not the answer. And then you're left with, oh, this could have been nice, or I thought we would be together forever. And poof, it's gone. And so, that's a real thing. You're still grieving that relationship, What else did I put on here? What was my red lipstick moment? The day you got dressed up for your own survival. I would say every day. Every day. I try to show up for myself. Every day. That's what I try to do. I get dressed up. I have my coffee. I spray on my perfume. And I try to show up for myself. That's important to me. I feel like there's always going to be something. Today is this. Tomorrow is something else. So each day I'm going to show up for myself. Like today. I decided to pour me a glass of wine. I don't usually do that. Pour me a glass of wine. Give me some leftover spaghetti. Talk to the people. That's what I decided to do. And so this is like an example of reclaiming or claiming myself and doing things for me, because I'm in a season where kids are grown, doing their own thing. So all the things that I'm doing is just for me. It's just for me. Okay? Showing up for myself. So, in closing, because this is going to be short, but what are some ways that you show up for yourself? And what are some ways that even in the process of grieving a friendship, a loss, a relationship, a job, whatever it is, any kind of loss, what is it that you do for yourself? These are the type of conversations we're going to have here, okay? So, I won't stay and waste your time. But I did want you to answer some of those questions, like what are you doing for yourself? Because in this season, I feel people around me, it's time to do things for ourselves. Don't put you on the back burner. So I'm gonna finish eating my food and drinking my wine, and you answer those questions, okay? This was Ifra Nasheed with Crew Conversations. Peace.